because of distances, and also we had no ashram in Melbourne all these days, I found that the collectivity is not yet properly woven here. And so I think best thing is today we must worship the Virat. Virat is the primordial father, you can say, or the one who is in our brain, acts for our collectivity. As the Kundalini rises, ultimately she ends up by piercing through the fontanelle bone area. Before entering into that, she enters into the Sahasrara. Sahasrara is the area which is surrounded by 1000 nerves. And in the medical terms, it is called as limbic area. Now 1000 nerves are all connected to the 16 important nerves of the Vishuddhi. That's why they say that Sri Krishna had 16,000 wives. That is, he had all his powers as his wives, and I have all my powers as my children. So when we are growing in our ascent, in our dhyana, we have to go to our Sahasrara. If the Sahasrara was not opened out, we could not have done this mass realization. How it is connected. The collectivity is so connected with the present day Sahaja Yoga. Before that, it was just up to the Agya Chakra. But when it reaches the Sahasrara, it enlightens all the nerves, and all the nerves look like flames which are very silent, beautifully colored in all Vibgyor colors. And the appearance of these is so soothing, so beautiful, that there's no better view in the whole world, I think, that human beings can see. So when this Sahasrara was opened out, which we are having now a puja, as you know, in Rome, before that, it had to go to the collective. That is, I had to pay my attention to the collective. I had to see the people, their different problems, the permutations and combinations by which they are all suffering. They can all be brought to the 7 major notes, we can say, but they are also divided into 21. One on the left, one on the right, and one in the center. So we have also whether 21 really basic problems, fundamental problems within us, which we have to solve. We have, in the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, have tried only to cure people, their physical problems, mental problems, their family problems, financial problems, all kinds of problems have been solved in Sahaja Yoga. And we have had some very great mishaps in between. As you know, that when they came up to the Agya, they started taking over the whole atmosphere by some sort of a authority which was not God's authority. As a result, many people went out at the Agya. But those who have come to Sahasrara have to understand that collectivity is the basic of your ascent. If you are not collective, if you do not come to the center, if you do not meet each other, then you are like a nail which is cut out of the finger, and the divine has nothing to do with you. You are out of the tree, like the flowers which have come out of the tree can exist for a while, no doubt, but after some time they are dead and finished. So it is important for all of you to understand that collectivity, if it is not established in Sahaja Yoga will die out. I am now going to America where collectivity has to be really of the maximum nature, but it is not so. There are so many problems on collectivity in America. But still, I would say that they realize one thing, that they have to be very collective. The problems are like there are very few people who are Sahajogis there. But among themselves, they understand responsibility. They are all working very hard. They are spreading Sahaja. Now you see they have the school breeze started from there. There are so many activities they are doing in America with such a small number that it is amazing how they are managing these things. And they do it very beautifully because they feel joined together. They are so far away from Honolulu to New York. It's such a long distance. But it's such a lot of understanding, such a lot of love and sense of responsibility. Because they are a small number, they feel extremely responsible that we have to be absolutely collective. No question of having groups. Even if somebody makes mistakes or something, they never talk about it to anybody else but to me. They never discuss about each other. They never talk ill about each other. They never form any groups. The children outside, just they can come here, the space. Can you move a little bit halfway in the there? Just make them space in between. Come now. आपण पुढे यावं. पुढे या. आणखीन बाबा वाटतं तुला पुढे वाटतात. आणखी इकडे येऊ द्या. इकडं. ए हरी इथे घ्या ना. आता पूजाच पुढे या मग. हो बरंच पुढे बाबा तू जरा पडून ओढून घ्या. Children can sit in front, they don't occupy much space. Children can even sit on your laps. बाहेर किती लोक आहेत? Can you move, you can make a gap in between the, yeah. Now this is question of collectivity. Bring the children up here. All the children can come now. They can help me in puja. They are very good at helping. Yes. ये नंतर लावता है काही जरूरी नाही. Yes. Come now. Poor children were kept out. Can you imagine? Yeah. Sit down. ते मागचं सांभाळा ते केस भिजवते. वाजवून टाका. Sit down. Here, sit down. Now. Come along. Come here. Come on, come here. आपोआप जागा होती. उदय मोठं असलं पाहिजे. Now who are outside now? Is there which small children are they?
Just the very small. Just the baby.
Come along. I think if you could just sit little, not with such a big asana, a little smaller asana, people can come. Put up one. And I think open one window also is important. खिड़की उड़ा. Yes, there is some space. If there are 3 cameras, then how can there be space? I think we could have one camera in there and they can sit inside, right? All right. You all should sit with one knee up like that, so there's more space. Just like Baba Mama is sitting. एक वरती पण बसा गुडघा थोडा. मग गचागच सगळं बरोबर होतं. Give it in Chaya's lap. तिला वेड आहे मुलाचं. Don't spread out yourself. Little bit. Pull your one leg like that on top. Yes, one straight, one like this. Even easier to sit that way. Easier to sit. Now this is the sense of collectivity. That it's a small hall, doesn't matter. We are all together. And how are we going to get all of them inside? Because you can't enjoy it unless until all of you are together. Now, everybody has to keep quiet, all right, children? All of you, huh? Otherwise they'll again ask you to go out. So now, let us see how do we miss out on collectivity. It's a very practical, down-to-earth understanding. First, we must know without collectivity we cannot exist. As the body has to be in connection with the brain, in the same way, without collectivity, Sahaja Yoga cannot exist. Once you understand that, then you have to work it out that collectivity is absolutely established within and without. It is more within that we have to establish than without. Whatever you have within is manifested outside. Now, how do we establish it within ourselves? First of all, we have to understand that now we are the relations of each other. Ganeshwara has said, Techi soyari hoti. Who is that cry?
Whatever.
All right, Tiradhar. All right. So the first thing is that within ourselves, we have to see introspection, with introspection. What are we doing against collectivity in our mind? How our mind is working. I do not know what thing comes first in the human mind about another person. But the first thing is that these are your real relations. And nobody else are your relations. These children are your children, and these men are your brothers, and these ladies are your sisters, and we are one big family together. We are part and parcel of one body. As this hand cannot hit another hand, thank God it doesn't think. Otherwise, as human beings, they might start thinking against another hand. But they don't, because they are connected to one brain activity. So the first thing one has to understand that do not try to see the defects of another person, but goodness of another person. That is really going to help you the most. Like in India, I see, I don't know, here may be the same. If they know you, supposing immediately they'll find out, now what work can we take out of this person? If somebody is a minister's brother, immediately they'll approach the minister's brother. All right, will you do this work for me? Then somebody says, I'm such and such. Immediately people will think, oh, so what work can we get out of this person? In the same way, you can go a little further in the language of Sahaja Yoga. As soon as you come to know about someone, you should not think what business I can do with him. I have seen immediately if somebody has money, people will jump at him, all right, let's have the business together. Even in Sahaja. Or if there's anything like that, immediately they start employing that person for your purpose. On the contrary, what you have to do, as soon as you know about somebody, then you have to think what goodness he has got. How can I imbibe that goodness within myself? Because we are here to enrich ourselves spiritually. So you must think as first and foremost thing, what can I do to get the goodness of that person within myself? So you'll be looking out for the goodness of that person than instead of looking out for bad qualities. Because bad qualities are not going to nourish you at all. Also, if somebody has bad qualities, no use thinking about you yourself, because if you start thinking about it, they are not going to be improved. It is somebody else's problem. So best thing is to look at another person with adoration and understanding, with love, that he is one of us and what can I use. Now if I have the hand, I don't have to think because we are programmed that way. If I have to hold this, automatically I use my hand, not my feet. I know my hands are going to do. But when I have to walk, I don't walk with my hands, because I know my feet have to walk. In the same way, you have to know which Sahajogi is going to help you to nourish yourself. Immediately your mind will become very clear. Like now, I saw some boy in New Zealand who was really about to be dead. And when he came back, I found the attitude towards him was not kind, as it should have been. But this is the best chance where you should see how you can practice your compassion. We talk of compassion, compassion. Now let us see how we can practice our compassion when this boy is so sick. On the contrary, everybody was harsh on him, were passing remarks at him, doing things like that. Because we have to have compassion. Now mother has said we have to have compassion. Now where do you have our compassion? On the walls, where do we use our compassion? Where do we use our compassion? So Sahaja Yoga is to be practiced doesn't mean that you sit down with my photograph all the time. It doesn't mean that. It means you practice compassion. You practice that. Then you have to practice love. Now how do you practice love with others? If you love someone, what do? You try to please that person. Small things can make people very happy. I know you all try to please me very much. You'll give me presents, you'll find out things which are good for me, you'll go out of the way, buy sweet flowers for me. Beautiful things you do to please me. I am over pleased, I must tell you. But I am more pleased, much more pleased, if you understand collectivity and try to please each other. Such a person pleases me the most, that the attention is more on pleasing each other. As soon as you decide you have to please others, your tongue will become different. It will become a sweet tongue. The tongue, which was like a pair of scissors, becomes such a beautiful thing of honey. Then you talk little, but you really pour honey on another person, and another person really enjoys it. So now the practice love, where do you practice? Ask you a question. Where do I practice love? What do I love? We love our house, we love our photographs, our decorations, everything. But do I practice this love on my wife or on my husband or on other surgeries? In our Sahaj culture, we have to practice compassion and love. And thirdly, we have to practice patience. I know some children are maybe little more mischievous, some are less mischievous. Maybe some people are very talkative. Sometimes really they give me also a headache. They go on talking so much. Sometimes I think it's good because it's a rest for my mouth. One way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is just switch off your mind, let him talk, take it out, whatever he wants to talk. Once he is finished with it and fagged out, then he won't bother you much. And also he'll feel satisfied that somebody has listened to his practice. So patience is needed. And patience is needed in such a way that others should see your patience. Yesterday, for example, I was sitting for about, 3 hours shaking hands with all sorts of people and all types of problems. And the person who came last, he said, looking at your patience, I developed my own patience. And love gives you patience. This love nourishes you. I'm telling you, it's absolutely down to earth method. Here I have not mentioned that you trust God. I'm just saying trust yourself. Absolutely down to earth, because we are talking about your brain. Now we have been saying that we have to forgive everyone. But we don't practice that. Small, small things like mad people we remember. When only I had heard that snake has this capacity to remember if somebody has hurt him. But here I find human beings have no less capacity. Whatever has happened 13 years back, 15 years back, they all remember each and everything. Whatever has hurt them. But how they have hurt others, they don't remember. How they have been nasty to others, don't remember. Because this is a human mind which has got the ego. It can go on hurting others, it doesn't feel anything. And the superego which goes on receiving all the hurts and always complaining about it. So it is for you to realize that you are the one who is breaking the collectivity. First of all, we had horrible leaders here. That's how our collectivity was very poor. But now we are getting soberer people, better people. Also for Melbourne, I'm thinking of getting somebody elderly for you to be the leader because I think Greg is full with responsibility. So I thought of Enzo and I asked him and he has agreed. So now in Melbourne, we'll have somebody staying in the ashram who is a retired man, who will look after you, he'll do everything that is possible to look after the collectivity of Melbourne. But you have to know that I have one connection with you through your leader. That doesn't mean you cannot connect. Like supposing there's a pin and you put the pin to me, immediately my hand will go off. Means there's a reflex action also. But mostly everything is reported to the brain. In the same way, everything should be reported to the brain. But from the very beginning, if you develop a kind of a criticizing attitude towards your leader, then it becomes very difficult for the leader as well as for you. First, you should not criticize. Don't use your brain for criticism. Already criticism has been too much in the West. I mean, they have got now technique of criticizing. All the art is finished because of the critics. The artists are afraid to show their paintings. Artists are afraid to show their creations because they will be criticized. Now the only thing that is left are critics, critics, critics. And the critics are criticizing critics. That's all. There's no creativity, nothing. So try to appreciate everything. Children are producing pictures, paintings anyway. They make sometimes my face is very funny when they draw. Not the children, even grown-ups. Doesn't matter. I appreciate it. It's very good, wonderful, very nice. To encourage that person. So criticism should go out of our mind, but appreciation should be practiced. Appreciation of others' children, appreciation of other people is very important. But that doesn't mean that you appreciate all others and torture your wife or torture your husband. That also is an imbalance. First responsibility is your family, but you should appreciate others. And this comes when you have no jealousies about anyone. This jealousy, I don't know from where it comes. I don't know this quality of jealousy, why there is jealousy. So also if you have jealousy, you have to use it for the right purpose. And what is the right purpose is that you should be jealous of a person who is spiritually higher than you. And you practice it that you become better. If jealousy is for competition, then you compete with a person who is more compassionate, more loving, more sacrificing, more patient. So this competition becomes a very healthy competition and the collectivity becomes very nourished. Now try to feel that we are all part and parcel of one personality. Try to understand this and practice this. This will help you a lot. Little things like buying a little present for someone. You see something, oh, this will be very nice for this purpose. We have officially decided that the men should not give presents to women and women should not give presents to men. But if she is your sister, Rakhi's sister, you can give, and the Rakhi's sister can give to the brother. But otherwise, one should not do that. We have done it because I have seen it creates problems. But that doesn't mean you hate women or hate men. But a distance has to be maintained of purity. Till you become completely innocent, is better is to keep that distance. This purity is to be practiced. And this practice of purity is that you try to develop your innocent feelings towards others. In innocence, everything comes. Everything comes in innocence. If you are innocent, you will immediately become a very good surgeon. But it has so many facets. Like the other day, there was one girl, she was fighting for getting some sort of a sweet. And they were distributing the prasads. So I gave her one of the small plates. I said, you distribute. Immediately she forgot what she wanted. She started distributing very sweetly with little hands the prasad to everyone, very sweetly. So this has to be practiced from childhood. With your children, you have to tell them, all right, let's do these things. Distribute this to people. Go and put kumkum on their heads. They may not do it well, but doesn't matter. They will learn how to meet others, how to talk to them, how to be with others. Now, the worst enemy of collectivity is aggressiveness. Some people are basically aggressive. Their style of talking is extremely aggressive. The way they say things is aggressive. Maybe because anything. Maybe they are better educated. Maybe they come from a very aggressive family. Maybe they are having a kind of a superiority complex or an inferiority complex or a sense of insecurity. Or maybe they are possessed. They try to dominate and show their very strong feelings towards people of superiority. They may be inferior. It's not necessary, but they do. And this is something is to be curbed. So what you have to practice here is humility. Try to be humble. There was a joke like this that one gentleman was going on the staircase and another was coming from the top. So this gentleman who is going up there said to the another that please move. So he said, I don't move for fools. The person who was climbing up, he said, but I do. And he moved out. That's how the humility works. You have to be humble in your approach to others. I mean, English language is outwardly very humble. Like you must say please, you must say thank you 10 times, please, 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 thank you, thank you, thank you. But not in the heart. Like supposing somebody doesn't say thank you, the another person may even beat you. Why didn't you say thank you to me? This is not humility. Humility is that in no way you try to aggress others. And if others are aggressive, you accept it as a childish thing, as a stupid thing, as a foolish thing, has no meaning. Because you are so powerful, you can bear it. That is humility which you have to practice. And all these qualities, if you have, you will really be surprised that you will lose your selfishness. Your selfishness will start dropping out. Because selfishness, how ugly it is, you start realizing very soon when you become generous. So you practice your generosity. You are all willing to spend a lot of money on me, I know. Want to give me presents, I've stopped it now. That individually you cannot give me any presents or anything. But generosity is a general term. Generosity of kindness, generosity of compassion, generosity of patience, and generosity of material things. If I see something immediately, I think, oh, I should take this because I can give it to this lady or to this gentleman, this thing, or I could give it to this purpose or for this organization or for this kind of a work we are doing. Immediately it comes to me. You'll be surprised that if I'm in the market and if I'm thirsty, I don't even think that I should go and buy some soft drink for myself. Doesn't come into mind. Even I have never opened my fridge in my lifetime, you'll be surprised. But for others, I'll run about, I'll cook for them. But supposing I'm in the house and there's no cook, I'll not cook for myself, it's alright. If there's nobody in the house, say my husband is not there, I may not eat for 2-3 days. And then servant will complain to my husband. Then I remember, really, I didn't eat any food, I didn't know. If I'm eating, it is I'm just eating because he's there, so I have to eat with him. I never used to take tea, but because he's so much fond of tea, I started. So I keep the practice so that I should not give it the practice up. Later on it will be difficult. It's just adjusting your two selves to others. It's not difficult. Few things here and there that pleases. You should. There's no harm in trying to please. But it's not only for the wife to do it, even the husband has to do something to please the wife. It's not only between husband and wife, between children and you, between the whole family of Saj Yoga, it should be such that we should adjust. So practice your adjustments. As you have to adjust your cameras. If you don't adjust the camera, you do not get the right picture. In the same way, and listen to you adjust yourself to the whole atmosphere, to a person, you cannot get the real picture. And then you start fighting with that. It is actually the fight has to be within yourself. It's quite a long story. I mean, as far as I know human beings and the problems of collectivity. And certain problems are being solved now. I am happy about it. That people are not falling in love. I mean, they are not falling and having a bump on their heads. But it's better now. They're taking it easy, thinking it over, and are marrying a person for marriage sake and not for falling in love. If something very great is happening, because that will give you purification of mind and a mind which doesn't hover over nonsensical things. So, as I said, practice all these things and your collectivity will be beautiful. And the best is to practice your meditation together. In Delhi, we have started an ashram. Every morning, I find people coming, sitting together to meditate. It's like a temple, it's like a church. They come there, and so many of them are sitting and meditating together. Meditating together is the best way to feel the collectivity. You can meditate at home, of course, you have to cleanse it for your depth, but also you must meditate together. And when you meditate together, then the strength that you have strengthens others, and the strength of the whole collectivity improves so much. We are meditating together is a very big thing. Everyone has to understand that whenever you get time, you find out in the morning times, for example, we'll go to the ashram and meditate. Say Sunday morning, we'll just go and meditate in the ashram. Just for meditation, you have to come. Meditate and go away. Because I reside in this ashram. I am here. So leave your homes, come here and meditate. Meditation will help you a lot. Wherever you are together, I am with you. But when you are away from each other, I am not with you. Only in difficulties, when you are pushed into some places where I am not there, where you think I am not there, I am there. But if you deliberately are keeping out of collectivity, I am not with you. So try to grow your collectivity, otherwise, you cannot go deep into your own depths. You cannot become a great Sajogi. You cannot really be called a Sajogi. Those who have a sense of collectivity can only become that. So we have before us in Melbourne so many people. And when the quantity increases, the quality should not fall down. And the quality of collectivity has to be very strong by having very strong bonds. I like when you praise someone. Normally, I've seen whenever I'm anywhere, people only talk about people who are negative. Nobody talks about positive people. So I don't know about them. Mostly I know who are negative. So I would love to know about people who are very positive, who are great, who are doing good things, and forget about the negative. They'll drop out in any way. So best thing is to tell about the people who are positive, who are doing good work, who are real Sahajogis. I bless you all in Melbourne that you have a beautiful collectivity and enjoy yourself, and every meeting should be a festival for you and an enjoyment. May God bless you.